I suppose you've read this, female escapee, top MP linked. You and your bunch of interfering ex-convicts, you're ruining everything I've managed to do for Jackie by plastering the city with your obscene graffiti and publishing this trash.
That headline's misleading. The article's not bad. It's all about a talent as an interior designer.
And about the demands of the PRG. Demanding changes to the law. Demanding improved conditions for prisoners. Demanding debates with members of Parliament. Debates on what? Jackie Nolan? Oh, no. She's just the ham on the sandwich now. This is the chance they've been waiting for. They don't give a bugger if she gets off or not, neither quite obviously to you.
No, you listen to me.
No, you listen to me for a change. One more article like this, one more poster, and I lose the support of the only people who can help Jackie get out of here. I lose them, and she rots in here for the next 3 years. And you will be entirely to blame.
I wish Mrs. Jackson would have her wedding in here, and then we could all go.
Maybe we'll get an invitation. You'll probably be out of here by then, Jackie. You could stand in for us and throw rice.
Or rocks.
Will you stop saying I'll get out of here? They're not going to pardon anyone who tried to beat the establishment. If they're making me serve 3 years, it's because they want to make an example of me.
That mate of yours knows all the right people. Of course you'll be out, especially after what it said in the papers. We've seen it happen before, haven't we, Bea? You remember Helen Masters?
Yeah, she was as guilty as hell. She killed a little kid in a hit and run.
Anyhow, you got Fletch on your side.
That finished as soon as I ended up in here.
Not if we know Fletch the Lech.
Oh, look, all right, Sheila. I wouldn't go broadcasting about Jackie and Fletch if I were you. Not even as a joke. If they shanghaied Tracy up to Barnhurst because her old man's marrying Mrs. J, they'll do the same to Jackie.
I know the prison reform group has good intentions. But as far as Anthony Vickers is concerned, neither he nor his party can afford to be associated with, well, what most of his supporters would consider to be a radical group.
I see. Of course, this would have nothing to do with an election coming up and the fact that an issue like this could gain a few votes.
It's a minor issue, but it could be a good platform for the party, if it's handled correctly.
Which does not include support from the PRG.
I think you'll agree that she'll have more chance with the political power behind her. Mr. Vickers is going to raise the matter in the party room.
But won't the opposition have something to say about it?
No, it's brought up as parliamentary business, not as legislative business. In that instance, it's up to the party in power to recommend a pardon to the governor and council.
All right, Mr. Phillips. I'll have a word to Miss Desmond, but I cannot dictate to the PRG as such.
Well, I think they'll appreciate that the most important thing is to have Jackie released. It's just a question of who has more influence.
How come your partner knows so many important people?
You need money to have an interior decorator. If you've got money, you've got influence.
Must be nice running your own business, eh, Jackie?
Well, it was while I was Sarah Forrest. Once the real Jackie Nolan stood up, I guarantee most of our orders have been cancelled.
Bet you had a good laugh, but all them rich snobs not knowing you'd been inside.
Yeah, rotten mongrels. What makes them think they're better than we are?
I'm going to run my own business when I get out. That way nobody can fire me because I've been inside.
You gotta have a head on your shoulders to run a business. You couldn't add up 2 and 2 without using your fingers.
So what? I will be able to by the time I get out. Davo wants me to study, and I reckon I will.
Takes more than books to teach you how to run a business.
Do you reckon I could become a real good businesswoman like you, Jackie?
Well, an education does help.
You got a visitor, Nolan?
Gosh, she gets more bloody visitors than a whole lot of us put together.
You ought to share 'em around.
Yeah, I'll have a tall, good-looking, rich bloke about 50.
You wouldn't know what to do with him, Lizzie.
I got a good memory.
Hey, maybe Mr. Fletcher could arrange things, eh, Jackie? Oh, only Jackie.
Well, keep your jokes to yourself in future, Burns.
Meant nothing.
You will keep your mouth shut in front of Vera.
Jackie's real nice, isn't she?
Yeah, reminds me of me and me heyday.
She's the only one that's ever been in here that I reckon's worth looking up to. And I reckon if we put our minds to it, we could be just as good as Jackie, you know, and run a business.
Well, you couldn't run a business like Jackie. You got no taste and colour.
I didn't mean that. I meant we could do something else.
Yeah, I reckon we'd be okay running a pub.
Meg Jackson and Mrs. Davidson are the only ones who know about our relationship. And for your sake, it better stay that way.
Why can't everyone mind their own business? We're past tense.
Yes, well, past, present, it doesn't matter. The department doesn't like officer-inmate association of any description.
It's a pity they don't feel that way about Barnhurst.
I don't want the women giving Mrs. Davidson any excuse for sending you back there.
They won't be asking you for any favours if that's what you're worried about. And they're not likely to go talking to the screws.
I'd appreciate it if you could come to see me this afternoon. Yes, that would be fine. Come in. I'm sorry, what were you saying about books? Well, they won't go astray. Perhaps we could talk about that this afternoon as well. Good. Thank you. Goodbye. Yes, Miss Bennet.
I believe you're aware that Mr. Fletcher is familiar with Jackie Nolan.
Yes.
Then what's she still doing here, Mrs. Davidson?
Miss Bennet, before you start jumping to conclusions, I think I should point out that it was due to Mr. Fletcher that she agreed to return. I think it's safe to assume that she will not take advantage of the fact that she once knew him.
It's quite possible that Mr. Fletcher might treat her a little differently, though, isn't it?
Do you have any facts to support that theory?
I like to avoid trouble before it happens.
So do I, Miss Bennet. But I like to be certain there is going to be trouble before I take action.
The women treat her like some sort of heroine. If she managed to be on the run for 6 years and do very well out of it, if I might add, what's to stop them thinking they can do the same?
Perhaps we won't have to worry about her for much longer, Miss Bennet.
Yes, and that's another thing. She breaks the law, and yet people don't want her to pay. The women will only admire her all the more.
You are probably right. But I can't afford to ask the department for another transfer. It would appear that every second officer is fraternizing with an inmate. Now, you and I know that that is not correct, but it would not look quite so innocent on paper.
Anthony Vickers needs total party support. At the moment, he's got about half on side, but they're pretty right-wing, so we've got to keep a low profile. Nothing too heavy in the press. I thought we'd concentrate on success, respectability, and the cruelty of your sentence, which is why we can't have anything too gauche, like the prison reform group putting tacky posters up all over town.
Oh, come off it, Phillips. They really upset your sensitivities that much? Or are you more concerned that they might steal some of your limelight?
I appreciate what you've done, both of you. You make my chances sound very good.
Good. Well, at the moment, it's about an 80% certainty.
When will we know?
I'm seeing Vickers this afternoon. He'll let me know then when they're sitting. In the meantime, keep out of trouble and be patient.
Oh, I was more patient when I thought I'd have to serve 3 more years. Now I can't even wait another day.
I brought a few things in you might want to look at.
I'll have to check those.
Of course. The SS strikes back. Thought you'd like to keep your hand in. Do you know we've still got one client actually with us?
Oh, is business really so bad?
We've seen better. Never mind, once you're out, things will pick up.
Once I'm out. You don't know how good that sounds.
I suppose I should be grateful. Jackie would still be in hiding if you hadn't exposed her. But once her pardon comes through, she'll never have to hide again. Just live down her past.
Mr. Fletcher, I'm sending a report to the department suggesting that Nolan be transferred. Oh, there's no need to worry. The only reason I've given is that I consider her to be a threat to security, inciting the women to follow in her footsteps.
Rubbish. What are you really driving at?
I think I've been in this job long enough to rely on my intuitions about certain situations.
Does Mrs. Davidson know about this?
I've discussed it with her, but because of her involvement with Nolan, she could hardly send it herself.
If you've got something to say, Vera, then say it without your nasty little innuendos.
The department wouldn't be too pleased to hear that both the governor and the deputy governor are pushing for Nolan's pardon. They might see it as prejudicial, wouldn't you say? And as for attending a PRG meeting, well, I can only assume that that also had something to do with Nolan.
Well, we were hardly underhand about that. If you recall, we even asked you along.
You must know how the department feels about the prison reform group. They're troublemakers. They want to abolish prisons altogether. We work for the department, not a bunch of radicals.
You're a nasty, calculating bitch. You know that, Vera? Erica Davidson could have had you fired, and you turn around and do this to her.
Well, I didn't write all the details I should have. It's a suggestion, that's all.
You know damn well that could lead to an inquiry.
She should be moved before she causes trouble.
She's not going back to Barnhurst.
For someone who's no longer interested, you're being very protective.
Do you want to know the real reason why she escaped from Barnhurst? because she was molested by a lesbian officer.
That's disgusting. Didn't she report it?
What, her word against an officer's? At least in here she'd be free from that sort of a threat. Wouldn't you say so, Vera? Oh, they might get proof one day when one of the inmates hangs herself because she can't stand the abuse any longer. Now, if you want to send her back to that sort of a threat, then you're the one that's going to have to live with it.
I had no idea.
No, you never do.
It still doesn't alter the fact that the women hero worship her, and that's dangerous.
Well, I don't see how. If it make you feel any better, I'll ask her to keep away from them as much as possible. All right?
If any of the women take advantage of your past relationship with Nolan, I won't hesitate to write another report.
I've been thinking about what you said to me, Mrs. Davidson, and, well, Lizzie and me would both like to try studying.
Yeah, and then we'd be able to do what Karen Travers did and go out on study release. Of course, we know we're not ready for the university yet. We'd have to start with the easy stuff first. But I'm as bright as a button when I set me mind to it. Of course, Dor might have a bit of trouble, but I could always help her out.
Lizzie, don't you think we ought to take this one step at a time? All classes will have to be done by correspondence until you reach a certain standard. Doreen, can you remember what level you'd reached when you left school?
I think I was about 12.
Oh, I was out working by then. Of course, in those days, that would have been a really good education.
Lizzie, don't you feel you might be attempting too much? It's not easy to return to study after all these years.
Well, just because I'm getting on a bit doesn't mean that I wouldn't want to try something new. I mean, I'd like to brush up on me English. I'm going to write me memoirs one of these days. I want to be famous like Jackie.
May I ask what started this sudden interest in education?
Oh, well, we were talking to Jackie, and me and Lizzie reckon that we might go into business when we get out.
That's if she can make her mind up what?
Oh, we know we've got a long way to go, Mrs. Davidson, but we figure that we might get time off for good behaviour, and if we can show the parole board that we're trying to improve ourselves, you know. I mean, you don't get such a hard time if people think you've got a bit of class.
And what exactly do you mean by class?
Well, you know, if we were a bit more like Jackie, you know, and had done okay on the outside and spoke real good and had important friends, well, we might not have ended up in here.
Jackie Nolan did?
Yeah, but for how long? Oh, come on, Jackie, you're the only one in here who speaks real good. You gotta help us.
Yeah, we can't very well ask Dave, though, or one of the screws.
But I don't know anything about giving speech lessons.
We can give it a go. We just want a few pointers, you know?
All right.
You don't know what you're letting yourself in for.
Well, let's see. I think the main problem's with your vowels.
Nothing wrong with mine.
Vowels, Lizzie. Well, Doreen, you first. Say after me, A-E-I-O-U.
A-E-I-O-U.
Not bad. Now you try, Lizzie.
A-E... No. I-O-U.
Do you? How much? Got you there, didn't I, Dor?
I didn't hear the bell. Or are you wasting time playing the fool?
Jackie's just teaching us to talk proper, Miss Bennett. Hasn't stopped us from working.
Does it make you feel important having these women look up to you, Nolan? You know, you surprise me, Smith. I didn't think you'd be taken in like the others. Haven't you realized it yet? The only difference between Nolan and the rest of you is that she happens to know the right people. It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Must be tough when you haven't got either. Hey, Vera?
Why do you think she's so special? Because she made a laughingstock out of the prison system?
Now, that wouldn't be hard.
My guess is it's because she wasn't caught for 6 years. And when you tried it, you were back inside within a few days. The one thing you all seem to have forgotten is she's still a criminal. Just as much as the rest of you. You all have to serve time as punishment. Why shouldn't Nolan? She's supposed to serve another 3 years. Do you think that's fair, Smith? Knowing you have to stay inside because you don't have the necessary influence to get you off. If you do, then you're more stupid than I thought. Now get back to work. All of you.
Oh, it's bloody stupid, Dor. Who's going to be talking to a flaming cow?
Yeah, and what if it answered back?
I'm doing moo cow.
Hey, B, why don't you ask Davo if he can take voice lessons with us?
Oh, sure. I'll go top of the class of H block.
But you've got a plan for your future.
I have. 10 more years in this hole. Look, the only thing I was ever good at was being a housewife, and I blew that.
Listen, you did hairdressing.
And who's going to take on a 50-year-old trainee? That's what I'd be, you know, to catch up on all the new styles.
You can come into business with us.
Look, I'm not a Jackie Nolan. I never was, and I never will be. I'm not ashamed of what I am, either. Any person worth half their salt would accept you for what you were and not be conned by phony dressings.
I don't reckon it's fair.
No. I wish they'd let her out while she's still young.
Yeah, I wish we knew some important people.
Maybe we do. Come on, Dor. G'day, love. What you doing?
Julian brought me some homework to catch up on.
Oh, how'd you manage that?
Mr. Fletcher. There's nothing wrong with me keeping an eye on the business while I'm in here, is there?
Of course not. Especially as you're going to get out soon.
Yeah, it looks that way.
You're real lucky to have mates who'll stick by you. Important ones, too.
Not like Bea. She was a great success on the outside. She was the best hairdresser around. She had shops all over town. She used to look after the ladies, none of your common riffraff.
Really? I didn't know that.
Of course, that's going back some time. They were all snobs in them days, and that's why they never stuck by her.
But I bet they would now if she had someone pulling for her.
Yeah, good idea, Dor. Maybe you could speak to your mate.
What do you mean?
Well, if anyone deserves to be pardoned, Bea does.
Look, I can't. It's impossible. It's got nothing to do with Bea. Well, don't you see? I mean, she's in for murder.
She had a darn good reason.
Doesn't matter what you did, you still got time. So if you get off, why can't you put in a good word for Bea?
There's a big difference between myself and Bea Smith.
What are you two doing in here?
Just having a bit of a chat, Mr. Fletcher.
Yeah, well, I want a word with Nolan. Go on.
Mr. Fletcher, seeing as how you let Jackie bring some stuff in, I was wondering if you'd let me bring some stuff in from home. You know, just a couple of comfy chairs, make the cell a bit more homey, you know?
And a decent bed.
There's a big difference between a couple of magazines and some furniture, so don't talk nonsense now. Will you two get out of here?
Oh, strikes me there's a lot of difference about a lot of things around here.
The receptionist told you we don't allow reporters in here.
Well, I thought if I could get past the gate, maybe I could persuade a charming woman like yourself to give a bloke an even break.
Do I have to call other officers and have you thrown out?
Oh, come on, lady, you can't turn down the Verity. It's the best paper in town.
I know what sort of a newspaper it is.
Look, all I'm after is a bit of info on Nolan. Well, do you think she should be let off?
Of course you should.
Desmond.
I'm with the Prison Reform Group. Now, if you ask me, I think a
Mrs.
sentence was-
Davidson's waiting to see you. I suggest you speak to her first. Now, Officer Barfield, could you show this gentleman out, please?
I'll stick around outside.
You've got no right to speak to the press.
Not one of your inmates now, Vera.
While you're in here, you'll do as I say.
You just don't like seeing justice being done, do you?
Justice is what put Nolan in here in the first place.
Coming up with good ideas, B. What business do you reckon we ought to go into?
Well, how the hell should I know? That's up to you.
It would be better if you'd come in with us. And the parole board would like it too, if you had someone to come out to.
Listen, why don't you just leave a person in peace and go off and practice your vows?
How can you try to improve yourself if you're always being treated like dirt?
Yes, well, if you want to be like Jackie, you're going to have to keep working at it.
Maybe she thinks that she's better than us too.
All right, what's happened?
Oh, nothing. We were just thinking that if you twisted Jackie's arm just a little bit, she might be able to do something for you.
What?
Oh, I don't know, pull a few strings or that.
Look, if she can bloody well wangle her way out of here, good luck to her. That's the luck of the draw. Now, will you kindly drop it?
Bea, Look, you've got to understand. I'm sorry, but there's no way I can get my friends to help you. They're breaking their necks trying to get me out as it is, so please don't spoil it for me, please.
When I ask someone to do my talking for me, it certainly will not be these two.
You didn't ask them to see me?
I need some fresh air.
Me too. Blabbermouth!
After what Vera said, I thought you might have put them up to it.
Look, I accepted my lot a long time ago.
I believe you used to be a hairdresser.
Oh, yeah? I got up as far as perms. Not for the blue rinse set either.
Haven't you got anybody that could help you?
Yeah, I've got a friend. He might wait 10 years for me, but I'm not putting my hopes on it. He's been banned from the prison. Look, whenever you get out, would you do me a favour? Would you look up Ken Pierce and just say good day?
Sure.
We'll hold off for a while, but if those politicians try dragging it out for months just to get political mileage for themselves, then we won't wait. We'll go in boots and all.
I think it would be better if you didn't talk to the press at this stage as well.
Yeah, OK. We're not in it for the glory.
Now, you said something about books on the phone.
Oh, yes, we've been collecting a few books for women's prisons, if you're interested.
Oh, yes, our library's not at all well equipped.
I'll arrange to have them delivered tomorrow, then.
Fine.
How many are there? I haven't exactly counted them, Miss Bennett. About 4 large crates. It'll take weeks to sort through that many books.
Oh, I don't think you need to check them all, Miss Bennett.
There could be material that's totally unsuitable for these women. Believe me, Vera, when you're inside, nothing's unsuitable.
I don't think
Look, we've been pretty careful. And we've covered the whole range. We've gone from beginners through to something a bit heavier. There's fact, fiction, educational books, you name it.
It sounds marvellous. In fact, we have a couple of women who are interested in furthering their education at the moment. This will be a great help.
What do we know about, Lizzie? I mean, we've got to get into something that we know something about.
Well, I'm a good cook.
I'm trying to be serious here, Lizzie. Hi. Who are you?
Hey, we'll get into strife. We're not allowed to talk to strange men.
I review ladies know Jackie Nolan.
Yeah, what about it?
Just pretend I'm not here. Doing a follow-up story on her for the Verity.
Oh, the Verity. That's a real good paper. I know that one.
Thanks. Now, what can you tell me about Jackie? Have you heard anything about her getting out?
Yeah, but she's not the one that you should be writing about. Do you know B. Smith?
No, look, I'm only interested in Jackie Nolan.
Oh, you wouldn't be if you knew B. She's the one who deserves to get out.
Look, can't we stick to Nolan, please?
Look, if B knew all the same people as Jackie knew, well, Jackie's even got a screw on side.
Yeah. And if B hadn't been so unlucky when she was trying to escape, she would have been in the same position. She would have been real respectable, had a business of her own and got to know all the right people.
What's with her?
Oh, she's keeping the low profile. She's frightened they're going to ship her off to Barnhurst.
You think Tracy's going to be okay there?
One prison's much the same as another.
Oh, sure. After what she told us with screws like that wandering about?
Yeah, but her old man's marrying her, Screw, remember? They'll give her a wide berth.
Hey, B, we've just come up with a real good idea to get some publicity for you.
What are you on about now, for crying out loud?
Come on, B. Just listen and see what you think.
You know how we do a pantomime every year for the kids in the nursery? Well, there aren't too many in there this year, and I thought if we asked Davo, we could do it to some other kids, you know, like from an orphanage or a home, and we could say it was your idea.
You're off your rocker.
No. Why don't you take out a full-page ad in the paper? B. Smith, Mother of the Year. The parole board would love it.
Yeah, and we'd be doing them poor little kids a good turn.
Look, I'm not going to let a bunch of hard-done-by kids come in here to watch a bunch of crims make fools of themselves.
Why not? The men's prisons do shows for people.
Yeah, well, do what you like, but just leave me out of it.
Smith, the governor wants to see you.
What, in the middle of breakfast?
Come on. It can wait.
I'd better be here when I come back, Lizzie.
Well, Davo's up early. I wonder what's up.
Maybe something good's happened.
Yes, I do realise how serious it is, but it would be pointless the PRG making a statement now. It would only add to the problem. Well, if you could just wait until I get back to you. Thank you. Goodbye. Smith, I demand to know how that came to be in the paper. What could you possibly hope to achieve for yourself?
Oh, hell.
In my opinion, she did it out of spite.
Oh, now hang on a minute.
Don't you realize an article such as this could ruin any chances Nolan had of a fair hearing?
That was the intention, though, wasn't it, Smith?
I didn't give them this. I knew nothing about it.
Then how do you explain that you quoted in practically every paragraph?
Well, how the hell should I know? Look, no matter how I felt about someone, I wouldn't stoop that low.
Well, someone must have spoken to that reporter. Do you know who did? Or passed out a message?
I've been inside all day. Why don't you just check?
Nothing goes on around here without your approval.
Well, this time it did. I had nothing to do with this. I swear it.
Very well, Mrs. Jackson. Take her back, please.
Look, it's just a cheap rag, Mrs. Davidson. No one's going to believe that rubbish.
You'd be surprised. I think that's probably done quite a lot of damage, with or without your knowledge.
You're not going to let her get away with a lame excuse like that, are you?
She knows what it means to be released. I don't think she's responsible. Erica Davidson. Yes, put him through. Ted Douglas from the department. Yes, Ted, how are you? No, I've no idea, I'm afraid. But I will be putting a report into the department. Yes, one of my officers did know her on the outside. No, I am not prepared to give a name, because I assure you what was contained in that article was complete fabrication.
You're nothing but a pair of bloody drongos. No, I don't know what good it's going to do, but you're going to tell Mrs. Davidson the truth.
Yeah, but we never said any of them things, honest, B, and we never said you said them. We didn't mean to hurt Jackie. We just wanted you to have a fair go, same as her. You couldn't have heard us right. How are we going to tell her?
If I'm any judge of Piran, it'll be done for you.
I thought you'd be interested to know you made the front page of Verity, Nolan.
What do you mean?
Somehow the paper found out that certain prisoners don't think you should be released. I don't know the details, but apparently they feel you're as guilty as they are. And if they're to be punished, so are you.
They wouldn't.
I just thought I'd warn you not to get your hopes up too high about your pardon.
Oh, my God, no.
Erica doesn't have to give your name to the department. I mean, she's the governor, and they just have to take her at her word.
It's not going to help Jackie, though, is it?
I know, but it's only one paper, and everyone knows the sort of sensationalism it prints.
This gentleman would like to see Nolan. He's seen her already this week.
I'll get her.
Do you mind checking the rest of these for me, please, Mrs. Barry?
Oh, not at all. I've taken a speed reading course.
Sign in and I'll take you through.
Thank you. Wentworth was responsible for this mess. So it's only fitting they should help get Jackie out of it, don't you agree?
Well, that depends.
Look, Vickers is still going to approach the party this afternoon. Now, it's already been implied that it's just a political platform, so the longer he leaves it, the more the press are going to be asking questions. And we can't afford to get things blown out of all proportion. Now, we've still got a 50-50 chance if I can make the papers this afternoon.
50-50. Why don't you try a 10% chance? 1 minute I'm prepared to stay here for years. The next you tell me I'm practically out, and now we're back to square one.
You're not. Now, I need some information.
On what?
B. Smith. If I can discredit her, then everything that appeared in the papers this morning just looks like a personal vendetta against Jackie. Might be able to make use of that statement.
Well, Smith had to have a hand in this.
Look, I can get the information somewhere else, but that takes time. And I've got to make the press before that meeting.
Oh, Mrs. Davidson. Lizzie and Doreen would like a word with you.
I don't have time right now.
But it's real important, Mrs. Davidson.
We'll be in my office in an hour. Where's Mr. Fletcher?
Oh, he's supervising a visit. Now, what about those books? The crates have been checked. Do you want them taken back to the library?
Yes, please.
Oh, good. Well, you two have got an hour or two to spare. How about giving me a hand?
Got a sore back, Mrs. Barry.
Oh, and I'm too old to be lugging a lot of books around.
Look, I'm not asking you to lift the crates. We do have a trolley in the storeroom.
Yeah, but I must have slept funny, you know?
Yeah, and you've got to look after a crook back. You ought to be resting up, Dor.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, you'd better get back to the laundry.
B is going to skin us alive if we don't tell Davo now.
Yeah, and I don't suppose Mrs. Davidson will be too pleased.
She might even stop us from studying. Oh, come on, Lizzie. We weren't sure she was going to let us study anyway.
Well, if you don't think she'll be pardoned after this, she can't stay here for 3 years.
Yes, I tend to agree with you.
But you're not going to move her. There hasn't been any trouble and the women accept her.
After what they did to her? Don't be ridiculous.
Well, the department is concerned about her past association with Mr. Fletcher, regardless of my opinion, so I agreed to have her returned to Barnhurst. The car will pick her up at midday.
So, what happened? Make a difference? No go, eh?
She's being transferred to Barnhurst in a couple of hours.
Oh, damn. Hey, honey, you know that's not the end of the world. I mean, your pardon could come through this afternoon. You could be out of Barnhurst before you've even given your fingerprints.
I've only got a 50-50 chance now, thanks to all of you.
That's better than nothing, isn't it?
Oh, just leave me alone.
Yeah, well, I'll get these things down to reception and get back to the workshop. Did you have a look at that? I'll be able to build my own house by the time I get out of here. You know, if I were her, I wouldn't let them even send me to Barnhurst. Damn them.
Go on the run again?
Well, why not? You know, you've done it before. For 6 years, you've done it. You've got friends with money who could help you. You could skip the country before they even knew what happened. Oh, forget it.
Hold on, Judy. You're giving me an idea. Look, it's risky, but it might work.
Haven't you done enough already?
I already told you B had nothing to do with it.
Do you want to hear this or not? Look, we keep you here in Wentworth until we find out about your release. If it doesn't come through, we get you out. Full stop.
You mean escape? How are we going to keep her here, Dave? I won't change her mind.
They can't move her if they can't find her. We play a little game of hide and seek.
If they can't find me, they'll think I've escaped. And that, in case you hadn't thought of it, would really put a stop to a pardon.
Look, they're not necessarily going to think you've escaped if they can't find you. And we can see to that.
That's impossible.
Well, I said it was risky. But if you get sent to Barnhurst and your release doesn't come through, you are going to be stuck there for years. Now, if you want to take a 50-50 chance, that's up to you. Or you can help us teach those bastards we can fight back.
I can't go back there.
Good. Now, tell me again, how are those books packaged?
In crates.
Yeah, real biggies, too. They wanted us to give them a hand to move them.
Well, you're going to tell them you've changed your mind. Phil, I think it's about time we gave Mrs. Jackson an engagement present. Oh, and Judy, there's some stuff we'll need from the workshop.
Yes?
Lizzie and Doreen are here to see you, and Judy would like a word.
Oh, yes, show them in, please, Mrs. Jackson.
Righto, ladies, come along.
Hello. We were just wondering if we'd be doing a pantomime this year.
Well, I hadn't really thought about it, but I see no reason why not.
Oh, that's good. Because some of the women are a bit low about what happened to Jackie and that bit in the paper.
Yes. Do any of you happen to know how it came to be there?
Oh, we reckon he must have made it up because B wouldn't do nothing like that, and none of us would do anything to stop Jackie from getting out.
Anyway, we just want something to take our mind off it, you know.
Yeah, we'd like to get cracking on the pantomime, Mrs. Davidson.
But that's not for some time, Lizzie.
Yeah, but we'd like to make a good job of it, you know, make it real special.
In what way?
Well, we thought we could do it in front of kids from an orphanage or home.
It was really B's idea.
Oh? Well, why isn't Smith here?
Oh, well, she didn't want to bother you after what happened this morning.
Yeah, and them poor little mites, they hardly ever get to have any fun in them places, Mrs. Davidson. We could show them a real good time.
Well, I'll have to think about that, Lizzie, but I have no objection to you starting work on the pantomime. Did you have anything in mind?
Yeah. Doreen said that there were some books that just came in. We thought we might find something in those.
Well, they're still in reception, Mrs. Davidson. If I had, say, 3 volunteers to help me unpack them, then they could look through them.
You got them.
Wait outside, would you?
Yeah, well, thanks, Mrs. Davidson. Be better if a whole bunch of kids were coming to see us, though.
Those littlies, they never get to go anywhere.
Like us, eh?
What do you think, Meg?
I think it's a marvellous idea.
Well, I don't know whether the department will agree to it, but there's no harm in asking. Oh, by the way, I don't want the women to know that we're moving Nolan, so we'd better not tell her until just before she leaves. Hey, Mrs. Jackson. Got a minute?
Yes, Phyllis.
I I bought you an engagement present.
Oh, thank you.
It's not much, but you know.
It's a lovely thought.
Teacher's pet.
Aren't you going to open it now?
Hey, what is it with you, Phil? Sucking up to her? I'll be careful if I were you. I think she's out for something.
I'll catch you up. Now, are you sure you want me to open this now?
Yes, I just didn't want any of the others trying to open it. I had left from the buy-up.
Well, it's the thought that counts. Thank you.
You never know, Mrs. J. There might be the patter of little feet around. You could use it on them.
Where's Julie?
She's on a lunch break.
I can check Nolan out if you want me to.
I can do it.
Look, Jim, if she does have trouble at Barnhurst, she should report it like any of the other prisoners.
There's still the possibility that she'll be released.
I doubt it.
That'd really make your day, wouldn't it, Vera?
If she is released, you won't be able to have any dealings with her.
The car's here to pick up Nolan.
I'll get her.
There has been some controversy recently about the pardon of a prisoner from Wentworth Detention Centre.
Hey, listen to this.
His name is Jackie Nolan, and I have with me now a man who has been fighting for her release. Welcome to the program, Julian Phillips. Thank you, Jack. How long have you known Jackie Nolan? I only knew her as Sarah Forrest, of course, and it's been 6 years. I made her my partner because she's a talented, respected, and hard-working woman. You must have been a little unhappy about the article in the Verity this morning. Well, only insofar as it was a pack of lies and should never have been printed. I'm amazed that the reporter responsible didn't check his facts. So, well, it was nothing but sour grapes on the part of a prisoner called B. Smith.
You're fine. Shut
Who was inside for killing 2 innocent people. My sources tell me she's nothing more than a psychopathic killer who should be in the home for the criminally insane. And this is the type of person Jackie Nolan is locked up.
It looks like Nolan has her own ways of getting back.
That little...
You won't be doing anything, Smith. She's being transferred. Well, why isn't she working in here?
One of your mob came and got her to do something for them.
Doing what? Get back to work.
I hope she suffocates.
Come on, Lizzie, I can't do this all by myself.
Well, I'm looking for something to do for the kids at the orphanage.
Well, nothing's definite yet, Lizzie.
Oh, Mrs. Davidson will talk him into it.
Yes, well, I think you'll have better luck if you start looking through some of the latest ones.
Oh, Mrs. Jackson, you're not going to throw these out, are you?
Oh, really, Doreen? And I thought you were interested in studying.
I've got to start somewhere.
Have you seen Nolan?
Well, she's supposed to be in the laundry.
Well, apparently she was given something else to do. Oh, I don't know why we aren't told these things. The car's been waiting half an hour.
What car, Miss Bennett?
Mind your own business, Burns.
she can't be found?
Miss Bennett says she's looked everywhere. She said that the women keep sending her on wild goose chases, saying that she's just Miss Nolan. As far as the staff is concerned, she should be working the laundry.
Then she must have escaped.
She wouldn't have. It would ruin her chances of being pardoned.
Was she aware she was being transferred?
No. No, none of the women were. She can't have got out. There's been an officer on duty in the garden all day.
Then she must be here. I want a thorough search carried out straight away. If she's not found within the hour, I shall have to inform the police.
Do you reckon they'll notice we got more books than we ought to have?
Well, if they do, we can always tell them that some of the novels had short stories. Listen, honey, don't take too much notice of that. They'll do anything to sell their papers. They always get everything screwed up.
They know exactly what they're doing. They're making me look like a raving lunatic.
They're tearing the place apart, Bea. Do you reckon they'll find her?
Who cares? Oh, Bea, what are we going to do about that pantomime? You'd think you'd find something among all them books.
Why don't you write to Ken Pierce? He's sure to have something we could do.
Yeah. Oh, he's not going to take any notes of all that Tommy rot they write in the papers.
We all know it was lies, and that's all that's important, isn't it?
I shall only say this once. It seems that Jackie Nolan has disappeared. Sure. Now, if any of you know where she is, I insist that you tell me right now.
Well, the last I saw her, she was
Quiet! What have you done with her, Smith?
Well, what do you blame me for? Just because you haven't seen her doesn't mean she isn't around. We've all seen her. Have you tried looking under her bunk?
It may interest you to know that Nolan has been pardoned.
Oh, there is some bloody justice.
However, the release papers will not be signed until tomorrow morning. Normally, the governor is guided by the party's decision. But I doubt very much whether he'll be signing anything when he knows that Nolan has been playing games.
She'll turn up all right.
I insist that you tell me now.
I haven't the foggiest.
Keep an eye on them. I want to know where Nolan's been hiding.
Well, what are we going to do now? We leave the screws to Jackie, and we're the ones that are going to cop it.
You lot are going to get some fresh air. I'm going to go and spread the good news to Jackie.
You should have seen the look on Vera's face when Jackie walked up to her and said, "You looking for me, Miss Bennett?"
You reckon it would have worked, though, Bea? I mean, say Jackie's pardon hadn't have come through. She would have been at the rubbish dump by now.
It would have worked.
Oh, well, I got to remember that.
In your case, forget it, because as soon as they picked up the rubbish, they'd know nothing could weigh that much.
Now, remember, gold weighs a lot, too.
Yeah.
You're very cheerful this morning.
It's this place, Mr. J. You know, it really brings out the best in you.
Yeah, I don't know how Jackie can bear to leave us.
You're not going to leave us when you get married, are you, Mrs. J?
Oh, I'd miss not knowing what you're getting up to too much.
Right, have a look at her.
Oh, very nice.
Thank you.
What for? I only did what every other psychopathic killer would do.
You, of all people, should know what it means to be released.
Regardless of the outcome of Nolan's case, she was supposed to be transferred to Barnhurst. And all you can tell me is you couldn't find her. Just how are you running Wentworth, Erica?
To the best of my ability, Ted.
Look, I tried to hold up the investigation on the work release scheme for as long as possible. But after what's been happening here, well, there's the implication of you and Reynolds, Meg Jackson's association with an inmate's father, and now an officer involved with Nolan.
Well, you've read my report.
I'm sorry, but the department isn't happy. They're sending over an inspector, Stuart Gillespie. He'll be spending some time here, and no doubt he'll be suggesting quite a few changes. If Wentworth isn't run the way he feels it should be, I don't have to warn you of the consequences.